Hello everyone, welcome back to Pabbly Connect. In this video, we are going to learn how to automate purchase order generation using Google Sheets and Google Docs. So I work in an operations department of my organization where the regular task is to create and generate purchase orders for different products. Now, to automate this entire process, I have set up a connection between my Google Sheets and Google Docs in such a way that now whenever I'm going to add a new row in my Google Sheets along with the details of the order which is to be placed, automatically a purchase order will be generated in Google Docs for that same order along with all the details. And I have automated this entire process with the help of Pabbly Connect without any coding or programming skills. To learn this entire automation step by step, let me take you all to my screen. In this video, we are going to learn how to automate purchase order by using Google Sheets and Google Docs. So I have created a Google Sheet which contains the details of order which I want to place. Okay, so here it contains item name, product ID, date, order number, quantity, price per unit, order requested by, that who in the organization has requested this order, the department from which the order is being placed, approved by, that who has approved this order, delivery date, supplier company, address of the supplier company, email address of the supplier, phone number, and the status. So by using all these details, I'm going to automatically generate a purchase order in Google Docs. For that also, I have already created a template for purchase order. I'm going to simply replace the data automatically in these fields and a new purchase order will be created each time a new row will be added in my Google Sheets. Okay, so we are going to create an automation for this entire process by using Pabbly Connect by setting up a simple connection between Google Sheets and Google Docs, and that too without any coding or programming skills. So this is the homepage of Pabbly Connect where we can reach by tapping this URL pabbly.com/connect. After coming over here, we can find two options: sign in and sign up for free. If you are an existing user, you can directly click on sign in, but if you are a new user, you have to click on this sign up for free button to create your free new account. Also, when you will create your account, you will get 100 free tasks every month to explore this amazing software and to test multiple automations. Now, as an existing user, I'm clicking on sign in over here. And this is the all app section where we can find all the products which are offered by Pabbly. To create this automation, we are going to use Pabbly Connect. So let's click on access now. And it has taken us towards the dashboard of Pabbly Connect where we can find all our workflows which we have created, and we can also create folders over here to save our workflows accordingly. Now to create a new workflow, we have to click on this create workflow option. Let's do that, and here a dialog box will appear in front of us. It is asking us to provide a name to this workflow. So first of all, let us provide a name over here. Automate purchase order generation using Google Sheets and Google Docs. After giving the name, here I'm going to select the folder in which I want to save this workflow. So I have created a folder with a name as automations for operations. I have selected that, and now let's click on create. As we have done that, we can find that two windows are open in front of us. So these are trigger and actions. Trigger and actions are the two main concepts or the principles on which the entire automation works. The trigger says when this happens and the action says do this. That means the action is the response towards our trigger. So whatever we are going to select in our trigger is going to command the entire workflow, and the actions are going to follow that same command. Therefore, we can have only one trigger in any workflow, but we can have multiple actions as we want. Now let's suppose we are going to take Google Sheets in our trigger and Google Docs in our action. And we want that whenever we are going to add a new row in our Google Sheets along with all the order details, automatically a purchase order should be created in Google Docs for that same order. So here we can clearly see that action is following what the trigger commands, because when the trigger happens, that means when the row is added in Google Sheets, then only the document is created in Google Docs, otherwise no. So after understanding the concept of trigger and action, let's start creating the workflow step by step. First of all, we have to select our trigger application. Now I'm going to take you first of all towards my spreadsheet once again. So these are all the details which I have already added in my Google Sheets, and now whenever a new row will be added in this same spreadsheet, automatically the document will be created. See, here I have added the item name. So in a single order, we have three different items. So I have entered this in my spreadsheet by using Control plus Enter. I'm going to show you how I have done that. So I'm going to enter, let's say, LED bulb. Now the next product I want to enter is in next line. So I'm going to use Control plus Enter over here, and I'm going to enter, let's say, okay. In this way, I've added the details in a systematic format in my Google Sheet, so that automatically within systematic format and in single column, all the details must be added in front of each other in this particular purchase order as well. Okay. Now, after understanding this, here this is the product ID which I have also entered by using Control plus Enter. This is the date. Okay. Here is order number, quantity, price per unit, order requested by, and all these details which I've already told you. But here at last, I also have used a status column which contains the status of this purchase order. So it has two options, either approved or hold. So my objective is that whenever I'm going to select approved over here, then only the purchase order should be created in Google Docs, otherwise no. So I want to run this workflow only when the status over here in O column will be approved. Okay. Apart from this, I also want to explain you one thing more, that in this template of purchase order, I have also used total per unit price as well as total amount. I have not taken it in my spreadsheet. Why? Because we have to calculate it and we cannot do it in a single row because we have multiple items in single row. Therefore, we will not be able to calculate the total price and the total amount with the help of spreadsheet formulas. For that, we have two options over here. Either you can take the price as well as the total amount in the spreadsheet itself, and then you can manually type it, okay, every time by calculating it from calculator. Or else you can do one more thing. You can calculate it with the help of JavaScript by using code by Pabbly in the workflow itself. And you will have to set up the workflow only once, but when in real time the workflow is going to run, automatically everything will be happen and you do not have to calculate the total price and the total amount each time with the help of calculator. So I'm going to tell you that later, but first of all, let's connect our Google Sheets with Pabbly Connect. Okay, so our trigger application over here is Google Sheets, so I'm going to connect it. And now we have to select the trigger event. So let's select new or updated spreadsheet row as our trigger event. As we have done that, a webhook URL is provided to us along with some instructions. So we need to follow these instructions step by step to connect Google Sheets with Pabbly Connect. For that, first of all, let us copy this webhook URL because it is going to act as a bridge for sending the data from Google Sheets towards Pabbly Connect. And after coming over here, we have to go towards extensions. Here we can find the option of add-ons. When we will select this get add-ons, it is going to take us towards Google Workspace Marketplace. Now here we have to search for Pabbly Connect webhooks. So let's select that. And now basically Pabbly Connect webhook is the add-on which we need to install in Google Sheets to connect it with Pabbly Connect. So you can find that I've already installed this add-on, so I'm just going to cross this. And once you will install the add-on for the first time, you also have to refresh the spreadsheet so that you will be able to find the option of Pabbly Connect webhooks under extensions. As we can find the option over here, let's go towards initial setup. And basically, to connect our Google Sheets with Pabbly Connect, we have to perform an initial setup in which we need to enter two details, webhook URL and the trigger column. So first of all, let's paste the URL which we have already copied from Pabbly Connect in this field. And the next is the trigger column. So the trigger column is the column in which if the data is added, the entire row will be automatically sent towards Pabbly Connect. So it is given over here, the trigger column will be a final data column on which if the data is added, the whole of that row will be sent to the webhook URL. So in my spreadsheet, whatever I'm going to select as my trigger column, whenever I'm going to add a new row in my spreadsheet up till that particular column, then only the response of the entire row will be sent towards Pabbly Connect, otherwise no. Okay, so in my spreadsheet, I have told you that I have the column up till status and the status is O column. So I want that whenever I'm going to add a new row up till O column, then the response should be captured. So I'm going to enter O as my trigger column over here. You can add the column according to your choice. And now we are going to click on this send test button to send the test response of this order towards Pabbly Connect. As we have done that, the test data is sent successfully. So let's just submit this. And here our configuration is set up successfully. We will cross this and move back towards Pabbly Connect. As we have done that, we can find that automatically the response is being captured over here. Here we have received all the details. This is the trigger column O. That means the name of the company from which I'm going to purchase the products, okay, for which we are creating this purchase order. Status we have received as approved. This is the spreadsheet name. Spreadsheet ID is also given over here. Sheet name, sheet ID, row index. Row index is the number of row in which the data is added over here. This is number 2. So we have received row index as 2. This is quantity. We have received the quantity of the products in different lines, okay, because we have used next line option over there. This is product ID, which also we have received in different lines. Requested by, that means who has requested this order, order number, item name and all other details. This means that our connection between Google Sheets and Pabbly Connect is perfectly successful. Now we have to do one more thing, because my objective is to create an automation over here. So I want that whenever now I'm going to add a new row in this spreadsheet, the response should be keep on sending without manual efforts. For that we have to go towards extensions, once again Pabbly Connect webhooks, and this time we have to click on this send on event button. As we have done that, we have now made sure that now whenever we are going to add a new row up till trigger column in this spreadsheet, the response will be keep on sending towards Pabbly Connect. Now we will move forward. As I told you the condition in beginning only, that I want to create this workflow only when the status over here will be approved. So here for that we have to apply a condition in this workflow as well, and with the help of filter we are going to apply that condition. So let's select our action application as filter. Filter is an amazing inbuilt feature by Pabbly which allows us to set conditions in the workflow according to our requirements. So our action event over here will be filter values, and let's click on connect. Now Now here we have to set a condition. Our condition will be that only when we are going to receive the status from the response of Google Sheets as approved, then the workflow should continue, otherwise no. So here I will simply select the label first of all. So in the label we have to select the status. Okay, so this is the status. We have selected that, and because we have inserted this status from our previous response, that means it has become dynamic now. So when we insert a data from previous step, it called mapping. Mapping makes the data dynamic. So now whenever we are going to receive a new response from Google Sheets, automatically in this field the status is going to be replaced, and if the status will not be equal to approved, then the workflow is going to stop here only. So our filter type will be equal to, and the value which we want to prove is approved. So this is our value, and because I've entered this value manually, so it will be same each time. Now it is not going to change with each and every new response. So whenever the condition will not be fulfilled, that means when the status will be equal to approved, then the workflow will continue. But if the status will not be equal to approved, the workflow will stop here only and the document will not be created. So let's check this condition whether it is true or not by clicking on the save and send test request button. And yes, here our condition is absolutely true. So we can move forward. Now here, as I told you, that we have not taken total per unit price and the total amount of the order in this spreadsheet. That means we have to calculate it by ourselves only. So for that, what we are supposed to do, we will have to use JavaScript. Okay, and for using the JavaScript in Pabbly, we are going to use code by Pabbly. And to use code by Pabbly, we will first have to change the format of quantity and per unit price, by using which we have to do the multiplication of the total price into comma separated values. Okay, so currently they are in single lines. So currently they are in separate lines. We have to turn it into comma separated values. So what we are supposed to do, we will have to use text formatter for that. Let's click on this add action step button, and we are going to select text formatter as our next action application. So text formatter is again an inbuilt feature by Pabbly which allows us to format the text according to our word requirements. So here we are going to select replace text, and let's click on connect. Replace the next line of the quantity as well as the per unit price into comma separated value, so that we will be able to use it in the. Now first of all, it is asking us to enter the text which we want to format. We want to format the quantity first of all. I have selected that, and because I have mapped this, now it is going to replace with each and every new response. And it is asking us what value you want to find. I want to find the next line. Okay, because we have the quantity in next line, so I'm going to enter the next line tag over here. And now it is asking us, you want to replace this next line with what value? I want to replace it with comma. So I'm going to enter comma, and let's click on save and send test request button. So here we have received the quantity in the response in comma separated values. In the same manner, by using text formatter, we are going to change the format of per unit price as well. Here this time I'm going to map per unit price of each of the product. I'm going to enter next line. I want to find it, and I want to replace the next line with a comma. Let's click on save and send test request button, and we can find that very easily the values are changed. Okay, now the next step is to use the code. Now our next step will be to use the code, and we want to first of all get the total per unit price. You can see that I have quantity and per unit price over here. So LED bulbs is of quantity 15 and the per unit price of LED bulb is 20. Similarly, for electric switches, the quantity is 20 and the per unit price is 50. And for electric board, it is 20 and 100. So in order to get the total per unit price of each of these quantities, we will have to multiply the quantity with per unit price. 15 into 20, 20 into 50, and 20 into 100. So we have already formatted the values. Now we are going to use these values in the code to multiply and get the response of total per unit price. Let's click on this add action step button. And here we have to apply an amazing feature by Pabbly, which is code by Pabbly. Let's select that. Now we are going to select the action event. We have two options over here, run JavaScript or run Python. We are going to use JavaScript. So let's click on this run JavaScript button, and let's click on connect. As we have run that, now it is asking us to enter the code. So because I want to multiply first of all the quantity and the per unit price to get the response, so therefore I'm going to enter the JavaScript code for multiplication. So I have already created the code. I will definitely attach the link of this workflow which I'm creating in the description of the video, so you can get this code as well in order to multiply and sum in the description. Okay, so the first code is for multiplication. So I'm going to simply copy that and I'm going to paste it over here. Okay, now the first is let product quantity, let per unit price, and I've used brackets over here. So in this brackets, I'm going to maps. So in these brackets, I will simply map the values which we want to multiply. First of all, I'm going to map the quantity. We have already formatted the quantity over here. We have mapped that per unit price. Okay, So this is the code. You will get it in the workflow. We will simply click on save and send test request button. And yes, here we have received the response. In the response, we have received 3 different lines, three different values for 3 different quantities. For that, we have to turn this simple response button off because currently we have received key and value pair in the response. But in order to combine them, we will have to use the advanced response so that the array format of the response could be captured. Let's click on save and send test request button. And here we can find that we have received the response. Okay, so when we have received this response, let's move forward and we will use another code to get the total amount. Okay, so now we have received the per unit price for all the quantities. 300, that means 15 into 20 is 300. This is for LED bulb. 20 into 50, that is 1000. And at last we have received 20 into 100, that is 2000. Now we want to get the sum of all these prices. Okay, 300 plus 1000 plus 2000. And we are creating this automation so that, and we are using all these steps. We are creating this lengthy workflow because we want to create it only once. But each time when the workflow is going to run in real time after the integration, automatically everything will be happen without manual efforts. Okay, but if we are going to enter the details manually in the spreadsheet, then we have to calculate them each time. Okay, so now we are going to click on this add action step button to select code by Pabbly once again. So let's select code by Pabbly as our action application. Here we are going to select the action event as run JavaScript and we will simply click on connect. As we have done that, now once again we have to enter the code. This time we have to do the sum. This time we have to do the sum of the total per unit price. So this is another code. This time it is for sum. I'm going to simply copy that and I will paste it over here. This is the same code which you have to enter in the exact format. And here, because we are making the price total, therefore in the price we have to map the value which we have already received from code by Pabbly in the earlier response. So this is the value which we want to sum up. Okay, so we have mapped that. In the same manner you have to do that. And now let's click on save and send test request button. And yes, we can find that the response is received, and in the response we have received the total value, the total amount of the order. Okay, we can find that it is correct because 300 plus 1000 plus 2000 is 3300. Now I'm again and again telling you that you do not have to do all this long process every time. Okay, you just have to set this workflow once and everything will be done automatically whenever you are going to add a new row in your Google Sheets. So now we are going to finally create the purchase order. For that we have to move forward, but here I'm going to tell you one more thing, that because in the response of code by Pabbly we have received the total multiplication of per unit price inside 2 brackets and in the separated comma values. So we have to remove them and we have to make it again in the next lines so that we will be able to systematically enter them in our template. Okay, so for that we have to add one more action step over here and we have to select text formatter once again. And now we have to select the action event. So our action event over here will be replace text. Let's click on connect. This time we have to replace the comma with next line. So we will simply map the response which we want to format. This is the response. That means this is the total per unit price. Now after mapping it, we have to enter the value which we want to find. We want to find the comma. And we want to replace this comma with next line. So we have entered that. Let's click on save and send test request button. And here we have received the response. Now we have received the values in 3 different lines, but they are with the brackets. We have to remove these brackets as well. So let's click on this add action step button once again. Once again, we will select text formatter as our action application. And we have to select the action event as text parser this time. So basically we are going to parse the text which we want from the brackets. So it is asking us to map the text which we want to parse. We have selected that. Now we have to fetch out these values from the bracket. So it is asking us text match after and the text match before. So it is given that your text is given after. So the text which I want to parse is given after this bracket. So we have to open the bracket over here. Now it is asking us text match before. So the text which we want is given before what? So it is given before this end of the bracket. So I'm going to enter the bracket once again, the end bracket, and now we are going to click on save and send test request button, and we have received the correct response. So we have received our values in the format which we wanted. Now we are going to use these values which we have received in order to create the purchase document. For creating the purchase document, I have already created a template. I'm going to go back in Google Docs and I'm going to show you the template which I have already created. So this is the template. It contains all the details. Here is the purchase order number, date on which the order is created. Okay, this is the name of my company, Electroc. I have an electronics company. This is the address. Here the supplier details will come. This is the delivery address, that at which address I want these products to be delivered. I want these to be delivered on my store. Now here are all the details related to the products: delivery date, requested by, approved by, department, item name, item code, quantity, unit price, and total. So I have only created a single row. I have not taken different rows for different products because we do not know that how many rows we will actually require for creating the purchase document for each of the product. Okay, so therefore we have used next line concept over here in the Google Sheets so that easily and systematically the order could be recorded over here. Now you can see that I have used some of the details in 2 curly braces. So these details are variables. That means the data which I want to change each time with each and every new response, I have entered that data in a specific 2 curly braces to make it dynamic. So now whenever a new response will be captured, automatically a new purchase order will be created for that same order without any manual efforts. By using the variables, automatically the data will be replaced. So we are going to use this template now to create purchase orders automatically. For that we have to connect Google Docs with Pabbly Connect. So let's click on this add action step button, and now we are going to select our action application as Google Docs. Let's select that. Now we have to select the action event, and our action event over here will be create document with template. Let's click on connect. From the given options, I'm going to go with existing connection only, as I've already built a connection with my Google Docs earlier. But if you want to create a new connection, you have to go with add new connection, and you have to click on save. And you have to click on this sign in with Google, and when you will click on save, your connection will be successful. For that, you have to also keep in mind that you have to log into the applications before making the connection so that the connection could be made easily and the authorization will become successful without much efforts. Now here, after building the connection between Google Docs and Pabbly Connect, let's move further. First of all, we have to select the template document name. So because we want to create different documents with a single template, therefore, first of all, we have to select that template over here. So my template name is purchase order template. I'm going to select that. With the help of this template, I'm going to create multiple purchase order. Okay, now we have to select the document's name, new document's name. That what must be the name of the document which you are creating. We are creating purchase order over here. So I'm going to give the name as purchase order for. And what I'm going to do, I will simply map the name of the company from which I'm going to purchase the products over here. Okay, so I have selected that. Now the next is new documents location. After creating where you want to save this document. So I've already selected the location. Now the next is asking us order number, date, company, and all other details. So these are the same fields which we have in the curly braces in our template. So we are simply going to map the data one by one in these fields so the purchase order could be created. And because we are going to map the data automatically with each and every new response, the data is going to be replaced each time. So let's start with the order number. We have already received the order number from our earlier response. This is the order number. We have mapped that and done. Now we have to map the date. So I'm going to search for date over here. We have mapped that. The company name. Okay, address of the company, email of the company, phone number. So mapping is really very easy process. We just have to select our previous response, and whatever data we want, we will simply select that, or we can also search over here. So I want the phone number. I'm going to search for the phone number, and it has redirected me towards phone number very easily. Now the next is delivery date. Okay, requested by, that who has requested the order, approved by, that who has approved this order. Okay, department, which department requires the order. I have selected the department. Okay, now the next is product, name of the product which is being ordered. So these are the product name, LED bulbs, electric switches, and electric board. Product ID, quantity. So we have already received the quantity over here in the next line. In the separate lines, we have mapped that. Here we have to enter the unit price. Per unit price, we have also received that. Amount, that means total per unit price. So here I'm going to enter. The response which we have already received from Code by Pabbly. So this is the per unit price, total per unit price according to the quantity. Now finally we have to map the total amount. Done. We have mapped all the details successfully. So let's click on save and send test request button. And here we have received the response. In the response, we have also received one document ID. This means that our document is successfully created. So let's go back towards Google Docs. Here I'm going to go back and we will check whether the document is created or not. And yes, here we can see that the document is successfully created. So I'm going to open the document. And this is the purchase order. Here the order number is automatically added. This is the date, supplier's details, delivery address. Okay, here are all the details: delivery date, requested by, approved by, department, product details, item name, item code, quantity, unit price, total per unit price, and the total amount of the order. You can find that how systematically all the details related to the product, supplier, and the delivery are added in this particular document. So in this way, we are going to create multiple documents once we have set up this connection. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to add one new row over here along with all the details. This time, let's say I'm going to add 4 items for the order. So here I have added a new row over here up till my triggered column. This time you can see that I have the order for 4 products: red wire, LED bulb, electric board, small switches. These are the product ID, order date, order number, quantity. I have changes the quantity, the per unit price, everything I have changes for the calculation. Here also the changes are made. The person who has requested is this time Gary Monroe. Department is operations. This is approved by Samuel D'Souza. Okay, here are the new details of a new supplier company as well, and the status is approved. So let's go and check whether automatically without manual efforts a new document is created for purchase order in Google Docs or not. And yes, automatically a new purchase order is created. I'm going to open it. See, this time the supplier address is changed. New Electronics, 12 Dummy Road, Bhopal. This is the email address. This time automatically, systematically, all the details of the products are added. Okay, this is request person, approved person, department, delivery date. And you can see that very systematically all the details are automatically added over here. This is the total amount. Everything is changed. This means that our workflow is perfectly successful and it is running perfectly fine. So let's summarize what we have done here in the workflow. So we have taken very simple steps, trigger and actions. In trigger, we have taken Google Sheets, and an action we have taken filter by Pabbly, text formatter, code by Pabbly, and Google Docs. And we have connected all of them with the help of Pabbly Connect in such a way that now whenever a new row will be added in our Google Sheets along with the details of the order which we want to place, automatically along with all the calculations, a new purchase order will be created in Google Docs. Okay, so here we have used very simple code with the help of code by Pabbly, in which you just have to use the same code which I have applied in order to multiply and in order to sum up the total amount, and your work will be done. Once you will set up this connection by giving your 10 minutes, you do not have to do anything manually. After that, everything will be done automatically. As soon as you will enter the row in Google Sheets, your purchase order will be created in Google Docs. Okay, this was it in this video. I hope this was helpful for you. Thank you for watching. Not only these applications, but you can integrate multiple such applications without any coding or programming skills with the help of Pabbly Connect. Now, if you have any doubt, you can reach out to us at support@pabbly.com. If you want to ask any query, you can reach out to us at forum.pabbly.com. And if you have any pricing related issue, you can reach out to the website given over here. Now, if you find this video helpful, do not forget to share it with your friends, and also please like our video and subscribe our channel for more such amazing automations.